Thank you so much. Thank you, the Steering Council, for your service. Thank you so much for your service to the Python community. Next, we also have the next special guest we have is our diversity and inclusion panel who are making their way to the stage right now. As you know, the diversity and inclusion is something that we put high priority in the Python community. So I'm so glad to have the panel here today. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marlene, and I am the chair of the PSF Diversity and Inclusion Work Group. For anyone who isn't aware, Python is a very popular programming language, and it's being used on every single continent in the world. So if there's a continent out there, there is someone programming in Python there. So one of the reasons that we have the TSF D&I work group is to try to represent and advocate for the needs of Python programmers in these different regions of the world. And one of the ways that we do this is that the work group has representative members from every single continent in the world, with the exception of Antarctica. So if you are here from Antarctica, or if you know someone from Antarctica, please reach out to me or come and speak to me right after. We would love to have you join our group. And yeah, we just try our best to have discussions about what Python programmers in these different regions need and what their challenges are. And then we also try to support the PSF board and the PSF itself in their mission. And the mission of the PSF is actually to promote and protect the Python programming language and to advance the growth of a diverse and international group of Python programmers. So far, the PSF has been really successful in doing that. We've really seen a lot of growth over the years. And so in this sort of panel session, we're going to have a discussion about some of the core issues that we think are important for the community around the world to be aware of, and also sharing as well some of the challenges in other parts of the world in terms of things that Python programmers have been going through. So I'm going to let everyone here is part of the work group, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Please, could you tell us your name, also where you came from, and how long it took you to get to PyCon? It took me 28 hours to get here. So I don't know, Deb, you can start as well.
Hi, everyone. My name's Deborah, and I flew all the way from Brazil, and it took me around 30 hours to get here from where I live.
Great. Yeah, I think it deserves a round of applause. I think that's amazing.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Iqbal. I'm flying in from Tokyo. This is my second PyCon US. I took some notes down. It took me two airport transits, 2 meals, 1 short nap, 1 immigration clearance, which took a total of 11 hours, 20 minutes to get to PyCon. But obviously, before the physical presence in PyCon, it took me since 2003 to learn Python, get here.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you all.
Great.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Georgie. I should have actually mentioned my previous country where I live in, so it sounds more magnificent, the number of hours. So I was previously living in Thailand, and now I'm in Amsterdam. And it took me about 10 hours to fly here straight. I feel so bad.
Great.
Lucky you.
So now that we talk about what happened to the location page?
That's right. You can skip it.
Okay, so now, Deborah, let's talk about you as the board, one of the members of board of directors. Like, let's skip the formal part, like how it ended up. You ended up getting a seat and become a director.
Yes, of course. So I've been an active member in the Python community in Brazil for quite some time now, almost 10 years. Oh my God, it's been quite some time. So yeah, so I've been very active in the community. I'm one of the co-founders of Pilates Brazil, which is the largest Pilates chapter in the world. It's like a network of chapters that we have all around Brazil. And yeah, so since the beginning of Pilates in Brazil, I was very involved with everything. And I remember in 2016, Naomi Cedar was a keynote speaker at Python Brazil, which is our national gathering. And she mentioned about the PSF, and I really didn't know that there was this whole thing, like in the backstage doing PyCon and protecting Python itself. So I was like, okay, this is really nice. And then I started to spread the word, and I got to know that there is a board of directors, a group of volunteers that are elected. Every year there are like different seats, but every year there is an election. And I got to know many people from different countries from the Python community. And I was encouraged by my peers, my PyLady friends, to run for the board. And then I decided, I kind of had something to contribute to it, so I decided to run. And then I didn't get in for the first time, and like for a handful of votes. And I remember that I didn't make the cut, and before me there was a Mexican woman, Valerie, that didn't make it for like 5 votes or something like that. And when we looked at the board at the time, I didn't literally see anyone that looked like me. You know what I mean? So like being represented on the board. And then I decided that I would try again. I would try one more time, because I thought that many other people would benefit to having, something that looked like them and could bring, the PSF and everything that's been happening to their local communities. So yeah, I decided to run again, and that time I made it. So right now I'm part of the board of directors, which is really cool to be there and to understand many things that are behind PyCon and Python itself. We have to make many decisions. We're kind of a strategic, board to help the PSF to promote its mission. And it's been a heck of a journey. I'm learning so much, and I'm really glad to be here with you all in that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Deb. So as you can see, the graph on the screen there shows just how diverse the board has become over the years. So obviously over 20 years, initially the board started very North American and European, and over time it's gotten more colorful, and that's something that is a testament to the work the PSF, the board of directors themselves, and the community has done as well, just in terms of listening to voices from around the world. So it's really fantastic. So the next question is for Georgie. Georgie, are there other ways that people can participate if they don't want to run for the board of directors? How can they be involved in the Python community?
Well, now let me press the button. There you go. Okay, so the Python community is a lot more than just core developers. It's similar to what Marietta has mentioned about like this event, where there's lots of different people behind the scene. So our common passion does not limit us to just code. You can also contribute what you're good at or simply what you like to do. So you can take a look at this little picture. Yeah, so if you're really good in writing, have a flair in writing and all this, then you can actually contribute to the documentation. I tried it once. I'm not very good at it, so I'll try again next time. But I did manage to get through one in the CPython, yes. Then also, if you are actually, you have a teaching background, for example, like Deborah here, you can also help by providing some tutorials or workshops, which will be really, really, really useful for those beginners anywhere around the world. It doesn't need to be in the US. So any parts of the world, the Python community is huge and very, very large. Or if you're just like me, who likes designing and drawing pictures and stuff like that, and you can help out in the design side to do the logos, the banners, or even the website. And also things like if you're really, really good in getting things together and like organizing friends' birthday parties and stuff like that, think about doing the organizing team. That would be great for that skill that you have. So at the PSF, we not only have the steering council, we also have, and the board of directors, but we also have other work groups. So you can see here in the list, we have the code of conduct, the grants, the infrastructure, even the Python job board, the marketing, packaging, scientific, trademarks, and us, the diversity and inclusion work group. So there's always, always ways you can contribute. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So definitely, if you would like to get involved, please reach out. There's also the PSF booth that is there in the exhibition hall, and so if you would want to join one of the work groups, please feel free to ask. And then finally, we're going to just discuss a little bit. Iqbal is from Asia, and we would love to know some of the issues that you think come up. What does diversity and inclusion mean for you in the region, and what has the Python community looked like in Asia?
Thank you, Marlene. That's a great question, actually. And before I start off explaining to you folks what is diversity and inclusion within the region that I'm, which is Asia, Southeast Asia and East Asia specifically, one disclaimer. I do not speak for the community members which are with me today. They can speak for themselves. We are a diverse group of many countries and many communities. But I do believe that since 2010, I've been working with them, and they do understand where I'm coming from and where I think we should head. So please take that as a disclaimer. So I'm not speaking for anyone. This is my personal opinion. Southeast Asia, East Asia is one, or if I may say, the most diverse region on the planet. We have over 1,200 spoken languages, including dialects, and 300 ethnicities. In terms of people, you have all these cultures, all these languages. None of them consider English as their native language. In terms of skin color, you can get from white to black in a very short span of geography.
Or even in a single country.
In a single country,
Yeah.
exactly, in
Yeah.
a single country. So it's very diverse, and diverse is default, as a parameter is default. So when a new community member comes to join the regional Asia Pacific or Asia group that we have, by default, they are different than us. They do not look like myself, they do not look like that person next to me, they do not speak the same language, they do not have the same values. So now, ironically, when we talk about diversity and inclusion, what is important is how do we actually get them together to head into a single direction and believe into a single cause so that we can work together. And that's where the inclusion comes in, and this is important. So from my point of view, personally, after working with all of my peers, there's two things that we try to drill down. And I hope perhaps maybe you can go back home after the conference and look within your own communities if there's some parallels that you can learn from us. So these two values, they are inclusion, and they are also the shared values, what kind of shared values that we want to pass on and share. Inclusion is important to us because you need to be not represented, you need to be accounted for, and you need to be heard, and you are present. So we try to get as many people involved, mostly from the different social classes that we have, people who's working in the city, working in rural areas, and take advantage of, and this is a very important point, of the opportunities that we can pass on and spread out across our community. After all, the best, we are only the best of us if we are with the rest of us, right?
I think this is actually one of the main reasons why we started this diversity and inclusion work group, because we feel that Python community is a lot more than just Europe and US. And we can see here today that there's so many people around here, especially this year, celebrating the 20 years anniversary. We saw a lot of people from Ghana, we saw people from Japan, Hong Kong, everywhere. And of course, South America too. There was like amazing amount of people. And just a very simple result here is that all 4 of us has actually tried the board of directors. And, the first time when I just started, I have no idea what it was because I don't even know what membership means. It's like there's 3 different types. So you can actually check on the website and to see the 3 different types of, is that 3 or 4?
Yeah, there are different types of memberships. You have a basic membership, which is free of charge. You just need to agree to the PSF Code of Conduct, and you become a basic member. However, if you want to vote in our bylaws and also for the board of director elections, which you should, there are other possibilities. So you can either be a supporting member, making an yearly donation of $99, but now we have a sliding scale that starts at $25. You can choose, but then you have the same voting rights. You can also be a managing member or a contributing member if you help to promote the PSF vision through writing code, contributing to open source, organizing local, regional, national events, running tutorials, sprints. If you do that at least 5 hours a month, you can self-register yourself as a voting member. And yeah, you can vote for our bylaws.
I think this is the part that a lot of them don't know, that they are already qualified.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
We are not including them in there. We need to actively remind them.
And I think the first time when I mentioned this to a lot of the communities, and they were like, I've been helping out for like more than 10 years, but they are not a member. So we are not some kind of clan to like ask you to just join, and nothing scary, but we just need to have your voice coming together, and we want to hear how Python actually contribute to your part of the world. And we need that to understand how we can actually work this ecosystem together.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we would love for you all to get involved more. The elections this year for the PSF board are usually around June. We'd love for you, when you are voting, to not just think of the popular names that you know from North America or Europe. If you see a name from Japan or Africa, please feel free to like read the statement and consider voting for them as well. So if you do have any questions about the PSF, what the PSF does, what the D&I work group does as well, please feel free to chat to any of us or go to the PSF booth. Like we said, that's in the expo hall. But thanks so much for listening to our session, and yeah, have a great PyCon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, the Diversity Inclusion panel. I am we're a little bit early, so I'm gonna go off script, off schedule. I wanna clarify. When I set up my challenge, one of them is about one point you can earn that you become a new PSF member, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I set up those challenges not for me, it's really for you to become part of the Python community. Anyone can sign up to become a PSF member. Go to the website, I think there's a link that shared earlier. I will clarify how to get the 5 points of becoming a voting member of the PSF. Somehow I know all of this in my head. The first way, if you are a contributing member, say if you run local meetups, or you are an open source maintainer. Basically, the requirement is you spend 5 hours a week to grow the Python community, either by hosting meetups, hosting conferences, contributing to open source projects. You can become self-certify yourself. Nobody will ask you for a time lock. You just certify that, yes, I run a local meetup. I contribute to open source. The next way to become a voting member is if you are a PSF fellow, basically if you see someone in your community who are doing a great job, nominate them for the PSF Fellow, someone who you trust, who have helped you, nominate them. And usually you can self-nominate, but people don't do that. You can help them get that recognition. Nominate people you know to become PSF Fellow member and the Python Community Service Award recipient. You can nominate people. It's not that something we or the PSF manually select people. All of this comes from your input, your nomination. The third way to become a voting member is by making donation, becoming a supporting member of a PSF. If you make an annual donations, it used to be you need to be donating at least $99 US dollars a year. We recognize that for people outside of North America, that is not an affordable amount. So there is a sliding scale, and you can read more details about it on the PSF website. So with that, before going to the next session, I also want to thank again our visionary sponsors, our sponsors. We actually have Bloomberg, who is one of our visionary sponsors, who want to share a few messages.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Olga Matula, and I'm an engineer at Bloomberg and the co-chair of our internal Python Guild. On behalf of Bloomberg, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone here at PyCon US today. We are very excited to be part of this incredible event for another year among such a diverse and dedicated group of Python enthusiasts. We come to PyCon US because our over 8,000 engineers and many of our data analysts use Python daily to deliver news and financial information to our clients, to build our systems and our infrastructure, and to do financial analysis. Bloomberg is committed to supporting the development of open source technology. As heavy consumers of Python and its ecosystems, we want to show our support in multiple ways. We are a visionary sponsor of the PSF, and we have been sponsoring PyCon US since 2015. Our people are CPython core developers. They have authored PEPs. They have delivered multiple talks all over the world. They maintain and contribute to open source projects and have developed open source tools like Memory and PyStack, our most recent announcement. You might have heard some of that during our sponsor talk on Thursday morning, Python and Bloomberg and Open Source Duo. As a further step to demonstrate our commitment to open source technology and Python, we have made a recent announcement. We will be sponsoring the PSF's hiring of another CPython core developer in residence for a year. That deserves a clap. We've done something similar in the past when we offered funding for 2 years for a person to be a project and community maintainer for the Python packaging ecosystem. This is a terrific opportunity. We acknowledge that, and we're very happy to be providing this to an experienced developer to work on the CPython core for full-time for a year. I think the PSF will be making a formal announcement this week, so watch over that. We have our booth in the Tech Expo Hall, and we will have engineers who will be happy to chat to you about how we use Python at Bloomberg, our open source involvement, and of course, our open positions. So please do feel to drop on by. Thank you, and have a great show.